Hello, it's Ryan from 2minutetennis.net, and in this video, I'm going to test your ability to be a coach and notice 5 common serve mistakes. Very simple. I'm just going to demonstrate a mistake, and there might be actually 3 or 4 mistakes that actually stem from that primary one, but I want you to notice the major problem that I am demonstrating, see if you can diagnose it, and then I'll show you how to fix it. All right. Problem number 1, you ready? You're now the coach, I come to you for a lesson, and you've got to see what you would change from what you see me demonstrate. So common. Well, just imagine I'm tossing and hitting. I'm in my driveway. The mistake wasn't that I didn't release the ball. I'm sure some of you said, you never tossed it. Right? What's the number 1 problem? The number 1 problem is that I'm bouncing the ball with my racket, which forces me to use a forehand grip. Now, I know there are a lot of players who say, well, you can use the proper grip and cut it like this. Well, not a lot of players are athletic enough to do that, especially the ones who don't use the proper grip, just to be honest. So what I would recommend that you do if you're someone who bounces the ball with your racket prior to serving is to stop doing that. Get out of that habit and just bounce the ball with your hand. See, the proper grip on the serve puts the racket on its edge. That's the continental grip. That's going to allow you to hit spin and hit with speed, be able to curve the ball, be able to put topspin so it dips and kicks. There's really cool stuff you can do with the continental grip that you just cannot do with the forehand grip. So go out and practice serving and never bounce the ball with your hand. It's a really big problem. And as simple as that might seem, what I've noticed with my students is anytime I get them to stop bouncing the ball with their racket and only use their hand, then they're going to use the proper grip. All right, did you get it? That was a pretty tough one. All right, problem number 2. This is actually one of the most common mistakes I see, and we'll see how well you can diagnose it. This is really common, and players have the best of intentions. And they usually don't even know that they're making this mistake. Do you see it? I was using the proper grip, and then right here, changing, refingering, and using a forehand grip. I've actually had, not arguments, but disagreements with my students who say, Ryan, I'm using the continental grip. And I would tell them, hey, you know, you're changing your grip. So then, because of that, whenever I see someone changing their grip, I just film them. And I ask them, I say, hey, do you mind, I'll be in a lesson with them, I'll say, do you mind if I film your serve? Yeah, no problem. 99.9% of the time they say yes. I film them and then I say, hey, I want to show you something, because people believe what they see, not what they hear. So you got to show them what they're doing. Otherwise, I've had arguments before I started filming people with my phone. They'd be like, there is no way I'm changing my grip. I'm like, okay, George, but you are. So it's really important that you film yourself and look to see if right here, if you're changing to a forehand grip, because again, just like I explained with the benefits of the Continental, you're going to lose all those benefits if, unbeknownst to you, the ball is in the air and you're changing your grip. All right, that's a really, really common one. All right, problem number 3. There are many problems on the serve. I'm only going to demonstrate 5 main ones here. And these aren't the top 5, these are just 5. So the mistake I was demonstrating was being really tight. The service motion is kind of, let me explain it this way. You need your body to be like a whip, right? Like a whoop, right? So you need like a whipping action with your body as you're hitting the ball. Well, whips are loose, right? You build houses out of 2x4s, which are strong, but that doesn't mean it's fast. You don't want to be strong with your serve. You want to be loose and fast with your serve. So even just without a ball, right? Without a ball, don't even, serve. I just want you to demonstrate the loosest service motion you can. I mean, literally feel like the racket's going to come flying out of your hand. It's important that we have a circular motion here, and the looser you are, the more you can use that circular motion to increase racket speed. So I want you to look at your serve, film yourself, and just say, how loose do I look? Maybe even, I've made videos in the past here, maybe even practice holding with just the fingertips of your index and middle finger and then your thumb, and just hold. You can even have like some space here. Just hold with your fingertips, not to actually serve, but just to demonstrate what it feels like, because then you don't have the strength and the racket has to drop back here. But just to be super loose, I learned this drill when I was a teenager, just to be super loose in the demonstration of the serve. So the looser you are, the faster you're going to be able to swing, and that means the faster you're either going to be able to make the ball go, or the more you're going to be able to make that ball spin. All right, mistake number 4. I'll show it from the side here first. Again, I'm not tossing. One of the most common mistakes you see. And again, there could be many that you see. But I'm trying to demonstrate and accentuate one. Right? And it is the palm up waiter's tray position. I would say if you go on YouTube and you just type in like palm up serve or waiter's tray serve, there is an endless supply of videos on this topic. And it's really important, and it's justified, because that type of serve and that mistake is just going to limit your ability to hit your best serves and to play your best tennis. When you swing the racket properly, and I demonstrate this all the time, and Osaka does this, and Roger Federer, and Sam Groth, and Nick Kyrgios, their racket, those players I mentioned, and countless more, the racket comes in over the head, knocking off a birthday hat. See, if you go palm up, the racket doesn't make a circle in over your head, creating racket speed, which is like the football throwing motion, that motion right there. So what you want is to bring the racket in over your head with your strings facing down, palm down, strings facing down, with a ball in the throat of the racket, and then knock the birthday hat off of your head. And this is, I started doing this 7 years ago. This is one of those drills that instantly gives you the feedback you need while you're actually serving. So go out and hit serves with the birthday hat. If you're tossing and doing this, you'll never hit the birthday hat. If you bring the racket in with your strings facing down, then you'll knock the birthday hat off and you will fix your palm up serve. If you're a coach, you should get a whole pack of these. And if you're in a summer camp, a director of a summer camp or a coach, you should be handing out birthday hats to all the kids so they can practice at home the palm down serve, and they'll think it's fun. Now, the teenagers, they might go, this is stupid, but I can promise you when they're cracking aces and winning tournaments, they're not going to think it was stupid. So I want you to go out and practice knocking off the birthday hat if you're someone who goes into the waiter's tray position. All right, that was pretty easy. All right, last one. Ready? I'll do it facing you. A lot of players think Dominic Thiem does this, or Andy Murray, but they don't. And that's your clue, right? It's the mistake I was demonstrating, or the main mistake was my tossing arm going immediately behind me, which is not what you want to happen at all. This is optional. You don't see all the players on the pro tour throwing this left arm back. But what you do see the pros do is their tossing arm, and I'll show it from the side here, their tossing arm, after they knock the birthday hat off, then the tossing arm begins to drop, but what you see is they reach out toward the net. So that I'm hitting the serve this way. The baseline's right here. I'm reaching out toward the net, and then what I should do is bring this arm in against my body. This is a reactive break. What it does is it slows the body's rotation down. I'm sure in the comments someone's going to say, no, figure skaters bring their arms in to spin tighter, or whether gymnastics or whatever. That's not what we're talking about here. That's not going to happen on a throwing motion. On a throwing motion, when you're turning and then you bring this arm in against your body, it slows this down and then your hitting arm speeds up. You don't want to be spinning as you hit the ball. What you want to do is uncoil but then stop, and that it creates the reactive brake, and then your hitting arm accelerates. So I want you to do something. I grew up doing the power X, which is finishing with the arms crossed. And if you look at Federer hit an overhead, you look at Federer hit a serve, he always brings this arm in. It's almost like his arm is in a sling and it's broken, right, in a sling. And then when you just follow through on the opposite side, you can see that the arms are crossed. Now, if you're someone who does this and then your arm goes like this, the way you see Federer do, that's fine. As I said, this is optional. But if you look at like a Raonic isn't going like this. Now you see Marin Cilic, yeah, his arm goes back, but this is optional. What isn't optional is tucking this arm in. What I would say isn't optional is bring this arm in to accelerate the hitting arm. How many did you get? Let me know in the comments below how many you got right. It's not easy. It's not easy being a coach and having people come out for you, to take a lesson with you, and they say, okay, what's my problem? Diagnose what's going on. And you don't want to get really low on the line of mistakes. You want to hit the primary. That's going to fix all the secondary problems. For instance, I just gave a lesson to a young student yesterday, and he had an extremely high toss, which allowed him to, with the high toss, then the ball can go all over the place. So he had an extremely high toss, which made for an erratic toss, which means he actually changed his grip and his elbow jammed behind him like this. And there were 3 or 4 mistakes that were all occurring, and he was hitting the frame because it was hard to time because it was dropping. I forgot that one. So because he was tossing so high, he had 3 other mistakes that were occurring. Now, it would have been incorrect of me to try to fix the grip change by itself or the elbow jamming behind him by itself. What was important is that I lowered his toss, because when I lowered his toss, he didn't have time to pause, he didn't have time to change his grip, he wasn't framing the ball anymore because the ball wasn't accelerating down so fast, and he wasn't jamming the elbow behind the back. And he and his mom were actually like, oh my gosh, this is so much better. And all I did is fix one problem, the high toss. I had to move the tossing arm really slowly, which means, if you want to toss lower, just move your tossing arm slower and the ball won't go so high. And all of a sudden he picked up speed, he had no pause, he was using the correct grip the whole time. It was really cool to see. So if you can start to diagnose the problems in your own serve, the way you just did with me, there's no doubt you're going to gain confidence, win more matches, and play much better tennis. This is Ryan Reedy from 2minutetennis.net. You got this.